We now want to bring back in Larry Klayman, who has been standing by. We were talking to Larry during the second hour of America Talks Live. So the report's now apparently dropped. CNN reporting that they have this report in its hands right there. Based on what you've seen, again, it's going to take a while to sift through it. So based on what you've seen and heard, what's your initial reaction to it?
My initial reaction is, why did CNN get it first after Bloomberg, two very leftist
great point, Larry.
organizations? Why didn't Newsmax get it? Why didn't other, conservative-leaning networks get it? It tells you where they're coming from. And, I hate to say it, I said it before today, is that, with all the experience I've had in Washington, being inside the Justice Department, knowing the way government works on both sides, this was so totally predictable. And that's why, I always never wanted to oversell what was going on. But this is a checkmate to the president, because now he's going to have to make some really strong decisions. And he's going to have to decide whether Rosenstein should be fired, the deputy attorney general. He's threatened now congressional staff. The president has cover to do that. The president's going to have to decide to declassify the information about the spying on his campaign that the Justice Department doesn't want to turn over to Congress. And he's going to have to decide whether he's going to order the Attorney General Sessions to appoint a special counsel. He must do that because it's clear that the Department of Justice cannot investigate itself. Michael Horowitz, the head of that office, I've had issues with him myself. I've had to go to court. They're very political. And for him to be called a man of integrity, remember Mueller was called a man of integrity. And when that happens in Washington, look out. Okay, that's the establishment protecting the deep state. He's not a man of integrity. He's a man who's a career Justice Department official. He has no independence, and we've seen that today.
Hey, Larry, did you have a chance to click the link to see any of the report before you came back on with us, or you haven't had a chance to
I haven't had a chance, but I'm going to do it right after.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So let me ask you this, Larry. Let's talk about a second special counsel. I'm one of those who firmly believes we should have already had one. What is the mechanism if Jeff Sessions continues to lay down on the job? Can the White House counsel, can the president himself appoint that second special counsel, or does it need to be the attorney general?
Absolutely. That's why I've had a petition drive, whether I'm appointed or not, at freedomwatchusa.org. Either appoint me or appoint somebody else who's independent. And the president is the head of the Justice Department. He's the chief law enforcement officer. He's head of the executive branch. He has to take matters into his own hands now, not worry about the politics. He's got to put the advice of his lawyers aside and go with his instincts, because this president has excellent instincts and he's a fighter. And he's not.
Larry, not to interrupt you, I just want to be clear. So the president, if Jeff Sessions chooses not to do it, the president of the United States from his desk in the Oval Office can appoint a second special counsel, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
He's head of the Justice Department. He's head of every executive branch agency.
Yeah.
So, Larry, I'm not trying to be rude if I keep looking down at my phone, but I just wanted to kind of look and see what CNN was reporting so I could give our viewers the latest information. So I'm literally going to CNN's site right now. This is according to its report. The massive report from the Department of Justice Inspector General Michael Horowitz makes clear that while several FBI officials broke with Bureau protocol in their handling of the investigation into Hillary Clinton's private email server during the 2016 presidential campaign, they were not motivated by political bias against Donald Trump. That is the first line in that story. Your reaction to that?
Of course. That's what CNN's going to report, but that's what the report obviously shows. We had leaks last week which said the same thing. Insubordination. I got to tell you, when I was a Justice Department lawyer, sometimes I was insubordinate because I didn't think the chief was doing the right thing. I went to the assistant chief to get permission when I saw politics going into cases. Insubordination is not a crime. So it was clear from the start that this IG report was going to be a whitewash, as John says. And that's exactly what it is. And it was so predictable. And, one of the things about Newsmax that I love so much is that you guys don't try to sugarcoat here. Is that some other networks were really hyping this thing to boost ratings. Yeah. And it was clear that was never going to happen.
Larry, I never had confidence in it, but here's what is really frustrating me. And I rarely prosecutor. I'm infuriated. The texts. I want to again read the text Miranda read in between stroke and page. Lisa, President, right. Peter Strzok, a senior FBI agent who interviewed in the world can Michael Horowitz, the Inspector General, by any fair-minded person with logic?
If I can inject a little comedy here, I might have
Please.
mentioned this on the show. When I was a kid, my parents took me to a movie, Guide for the Married Man. Okay, I don't know why they did, but there was a scene in there with Joey Bishop, the comedian, where he was in bed with another woman. He was cheating on his wife. And his wife walks in with a private investigator and a photographer. And she says, "Who's that woman you're in bed with?" And he says, "What woman? I don't see any woman." And he gets up, puts his clothes on, and leaves. I mean, that's what we have here. I mean, it's theater of the absurd. And what's really frightening is the American people are becoming more intelligent by the day. And there's a significant minority of American people that are going to rise up. And I'm afraid, and I'm trying to head it off, that we're headed into a violent period between left and right. And that's why it's so important that we have a justice system. When we took our justice system, when King George III took it back to the court of King James before 1776, that was the basic trigger for the revolution. I think we're headed in that direction, and we should all try to head it off.
Yeah. Larry, the report makes 9 recommendations. These recommendations include things like developing guidance. The department should make situations explicitly clear. There should be more disclosure. They should consider new policies addressing appropriateness for employees.
All general.
All very general. Literally, this looks like something that my children could have written.
I want to get your reaction to those recommendations when we come back from the commercial break, so just stay right where you are. Again, we're joined by former federal prosecutor Larry Klayman. He's also a founder of Freedom Watch. We're going to get him to weigh in after the IG finally released its report. We'll be right back. You're watching America Talks Live.